is God's roadmap for Israel and the church? These short Q&As will help guide you on your way. Aside from the Bible, what justifies Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state?
I'm very happy to set the Bible aside temporarily because for many, many people the Bible is not authoritative. But I want to tell you that what the Bible says about the Jews and the land of Israel lines up perfectly with the secular justifications that I will now outline from international law. First, the Jews settled this narrow strip of land on the Mediterranean beginning almost 3,500 years ago. Now, when I say the Jews, I also include their relatives from the other 11 tribes of Israel. Technically, Jews are from the tribe of Judah. So, the 12 tribes of Israel are the closest we will come to the indigenous people of this land. The people groups whom they displaced under Joshua have totally disappeared. The Hittites, the Hivites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Jebusites, the Perizzites, and the Mennonites. I believe it is no small matter that the Israelites have not disappeared. There has been a whole lot of water under the bridge in these 3,500 years, including 3 times when the Israelites were exiled from this land. The first exile lasted 70 years in Babylon. The second exile at the hands of the Assyrian Empire created the 10 lost tribes. The third one lasted 1,800 years, beginning when the Roman Empire sent Jews all over the world in 2 stages. In the years 70 and then 135 Common Era, the Romans destroyed Judah and Jerusalem and exiled their Jewish inhabitants. They renamed the land Palestine as a form of mockery. The Philistines, or Philistines, had been the mortal enemies of the Israelites. After Roman and Byzantine rule, Palestine was ruled over by Muslims until the 20th century, with just a brief hiatus of 100 years of Christian Crusader rule between 1000 and 1100 Common Era. The final Muslim empire were the Ottomans based in Turkey. In 1914, the Ottomans joined with Germany in World War I to fight the Allied powers, Britain and France with the United States, Canada, and others as co-belligerents. And now we come to the matter of international laws. Germany and company lost the war, and the Ottoman Empire renounced its territories to the Allies, the principal Allied powers. This was by the 1920 Treaty of Sèvres, Article 132. Now, normally, the victors of a war would annex their conquered territory, but these victors were influenced by U.S. President Woodrow Wilson's 14 points to make for enduring peace. One of these points was the self-determination of people groups. There were 2 main people groups in the Middle Eastern part of the Ottoman Empire, Arabs and Jews. There were lots of Arabs and only a few Jews. But there were millions of Jews around the world in exile from Palestine. And there were dozens of Arab states, no Jewish states. The British government proposed the idea of creating a homeland for these millions of exiles who had endured untold suffering for centuries. This idea was expressed in the Balfour Declaration, simply a letter to the Jews of the world declaring Britain's intent to reconstitute their homeland in Palestine. This declaration was ratified by the other Allied powers, then by 51 nations in the San Remo Agreement, and finally it became part of the founding covenant of the League of Nations, a then brand new organization which was the fruit of another of Woodrow Wilson's 14 points. The way this Jewish homeland was to come into being was through the administration by Great Britain of Jewish immigration to Palestine over the succeeding decades, the British Mandate. This didn't go so well, and we will look at that next time. But for today, you have just seen the foundations of the Jewish state of Israel in accordance with international law. One international lawyer described the 1920 San Remo Agreement which ratified the 1917 Balfour Declaration as Israel's Magna Carta. These laws are still relevant today, though they have been forgotten or ignored by many of the parties to the situation. Nothing has superseded them in international law. If you'd like a more in-depth look at Israel's case for the land, rather than this whirlwind tour of 3,500 years of history, we have a video seminar called The Case for Israel, A Justice Perspective, available at our web store or by calling our office. Stay tuned for the next Israel Q&A, the 1947 War of Independence and the rebirth of a nation.